Hi everyone! Welcome to this week's edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I love hosting my weekly editions of Show Me How It's Done because it gives me a chance to show you a fun little technique or a product suite that I've been playing with, and you can follow along if you would like to. If you don't have any of the products that I'm using, you can either use some of your own, or my website is listed down at the bottom. If you're in Canada, I would love to be your demonstrator, and you can shop with me online, shipped straight to your door, and message me if you do need a catalog as well. So we're going to play with a fun fold today. This is a half hexagonal card, and it kind of stands up like that, sits on your desk, you can write on the back, and it's very, very easy to make. So I'd love to walk you through how you can recreate this card. The suite that I'm using is from our 2025 to 2026 annual catalog. It's on page 48 and 49, and it is called Turtel-y Cute. So this suite has a bunch of different features, including scrapbook kits that you can find elsewhere in the catalog. There is a great set of stamps and dies that you can also purchase, but I'm using the designer series paper as my main focus of today's card. If you do watch my videos on a weekly basis, I did show you another card a week or two ago using these two features, which is the Turtle Impressions embossing a folder and some of those hexagon gems. We might throw some of those on today's project too, but our main focus is going to be on this Turtel-y Cute 12 by 12 designer series paper. So if you would like to craft with me, we're going to start by grabbing ourselves a strip of garden green. So usually with a card, we start with a card base, but actually we're going to start with this little feature here, this belly that's kind of coming out, because it's easiest if we have that built and ready to go. So we're going to cut a piece of garden green cardstock, and this is going to be 2 inches wide by 11 inches long. I'm going to move this so that I can point out all of the different score marks. So I will go slow, and please remember I have also written all these measurements in the description. So if I've gone too quickly for you, just hit that pause button and go find them in the description. So 2 inches by 11. We're going to do our first score mark here at 1.5, 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, 8.5, 9.5. So I will do those one more time for you. 1.5, 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, 8.5, 9.5. Now we have to cut a bunch of different designer series papers. So I chose those yellow music note ones. You can choose anything you want, because the other side of this is, of course, the party turtles. Oh, pardon me. Oh, sorry. And you may not want to use all of those papers. So whatever paper pattern you want, you need 2 pieces that are 7/8 of an inch by 1 3/4. And if you can just imagine with me, these are going to be going on these 2 sections. Then these 3 panels need squares that are 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. We don't need anything on these 2 end panels because those are going to get tucked in and make our belly band feature for us. So don't worry about those ones. But we're going to go ahead while this is still flat and easy to maneuver and add all those pieces where they should be. The music notes are nice because the page is very non-directional. I don't need to worry about what's up and what's down. So I can cut this however I want. Makes my life a little easier. If you picked something that does need to consider direction, just keep that in mind when you're chopping or when you're placing your pieces. Okay, so flat adhesive for this part here. I suppose you could use dimensionals. It wouldn't hurt anything at all. So let's just say it's up to you. I'm going to use flat adhesive, and I'm going to tuck these in to their little space. The two on the ends will not have a lot of room. There won't really be a border on the left and right. You'll see one on the top and bottom, but these squares should have a bit of a border all the way around them. And this is meant to just be a very, very fun card for you to build for somebody who's needing some celebration. Perhaps they are graduating, perhaps there's a birthday, a retirement. You can really make these turtles into anything you want. So feel free to embellish different sentiments as well. Okay. Now, while this is in front of me, I'm going to grab a bone folder and I'm going to do a little bit of scoring on all of those points. I just find it's much easier to do this than to add those small pieces after we've attached. Okay, so there's our belly band, or our belly of sorts. We're going to set this aside just for 1 minute here, and we're going to work on making this backdrop piece. Okay, so we need to cut a few different things. Oh, I feel myself yawning again. We're going to cut a few different things to get this set up, but don't attach them yet to each other because there's a little trick. Okay, so to start, you're going to need 2 pieces of garden green. These 2 pieces are going to measure 4 inches by 5.5. On the front of one of them, you're going to put a designer series paper. So I like the banjo and the musical turtles. This is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then layered upon this one, this is our white piece, so you have something to write on. Once again, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So you can go ahead and layer the white on the green and the designer paper on the green. Right there. Then we get to have a little bit of fun. So don't worry, this is the hardest part coming up, but I will walk you through it and we will be okay. All right, we're going to push aside the piece that has the turtles, and we're going to focus on the piece that has just the white on the background. And we're going to bring our belly band back into play. Okay, so remember when we looked at the front of our belly band and we said, oh, these 2 squares, you don't get any sort of embellishment or paper. They are, at this point now, going to get some adhesive. So I tell you this now because some people I know love using glue or seal, and I didn't want you having it sit on your desk and make a mess of things. So whatever adhesive you're using now, go ahead and add it to these 2 sides, and then still visible in front of you is all those yellow musical notes, okay? We're going to attach one side at a time. So step number 1 is going to be to take this layer with the white and the green and flip it over. We need to attach this to the back of it. And we're going to attach this panel simply by folding it under and lining up the edge of our green now to the edge of this green. So the easy thing to do, because it's folded under, is just to press down and it will stay attached while the rest is perfectly lined up to these 2 edges. We're going to do the same thing to the opposite side. So you kind of shove this extra material over. It won't fold flat because it has a little bit of life to it. But we're going to do that same idea. We're going to tuck this piece backwards and then line up the edge of this skinny yellow and green piece to the edge of your existing green base. There we go. So what it should look like now is this funky little shape. Okay. So the reason that we cut 2 green panels now is because we can hide all of this workmanship behind the turtle paper. So we have a little bit of work to do at the moment. We need to turn over the turtle paper and we need to put adhesive now in the entire perimeter. Okay, don't skimp on that perimeter, go all the way around because we want it to look like one big thick base. Nobody will know there's 2 pieces there unless they look really closely. Okay, so the whole thing. Now, base piece number 1 and base piece number 2 are exactly the same size. So as long as you line these up to one another, they should end up being exactly the same. But to avoid any sort of mistakes, what I like to do, I'm just going to feed this one in through the bottom but not touch down. I'm going to line up the top of my card first. That way, if there's anything that's mismatched, it will be in that inside part and nobody will really look at it. What they're going to see is the top of the card. So if you can make sure that those 2 pieces are lined up and then just press all the way down, it won't matter if there's anything that's slightly off in this bottom section. Okay, I know, lots of turning and twisting. Now, I did do this sort of a card a couple months ago when I hosted a mega birthday class, and one of the beautiful cards that we made was this one here, and you can see it is stunning. It's got those gold layers and it's just very, very elegant. I wanted this one to be a bit more playful, and so I thought it would be really, really fun to add kind of a floating feature for a little turtle that we're cutting out from the paper. So here's a little strip that we're going to add of garden green. You can see if you tilt the card up, that strip is kind of in place here and my turtle's floating on that strip. So I have cut this 1 inch by 5.5, and I did a score mark at 1/2 inch and another score mark at 5 inches. So I'm going to fold that over now, and I will show you how to mount this to the inside. So I'm going to use tape on these 2 panels, these 2 folded pieces. I'm going to add tape to the backs of those because this piece will need to attach from the back of those 2 pieces in order for it to fit in here. So I've kind of measured it so it should fit all the way across the span here. But the tricky thing is it's a weird shape, so it's always fun to work with. So we're only going to attach one side at a time. We're going to put our tool back together. There we go. And you have a choice. You can either feed this kind of down near the bottom. I kept it near the middle of my project, and I'm going to use this to point. So let's call this skinny wall. And that's the one like right next to the turtles. This is where you want your first adhesive piece to attach to. You don't want it to attach to one of the big square pieces. You want it to attach to those skinny rectangles. And I'm just going to feed that in, and then I'll show you because I know my hand's in the way. Okay, so I have fed it inside here, and you can hopefully see that back panel piece is attached to my skinny rectangle, and then this part in the front is still loose, okay? Then if we turn around, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to attach to the other skinny rectangle part, but because everybody's cards may end up being slightly different, you know, because we might have scored something slightly different, or moved it or anything like that. I should have taken this adhesive off earlier. That would have made my life easier. Here we go. You're going to just gently kind of push the one corner that you've already attached, push it towards the other side and see where that strip lines up. So I've pushed the bottom because that was the side that was attached. And then this is just where it lined up straight across my shape. Okay, and I'm gonna be happy with that. I'm gonna push it down and I'm gonna just re-fluff up my shape, making that kind of fun bar across the project. So on that bar then, you're going to find the designer series paper with all of your different turtles and decide which one you'd like to use. So I'm fussy cutting around, and the key with my fussy cutting is I'm not going to stress too much about making it perfect. If I leave some white around him, it will trick the eyes into thinking you've cut everything equal and perfect and beautiful, which you and I both know I am not doing. So you might be the best fussy cutter in the world, but I am not. So we're just gonna cut around that basic shape of him all the way. Go. I like the banjo, it's nice and straight. Ooh, there we go. Okay, here is Turtle. Now, to attach him, we only want a dimensional on the part of him that's going to touch that bar across. So my suggestion to you is that should just be his feet. So we're only going to put one dimensional on the bottom of his feet. And then you're going to, I put this one on the left because of course he was facing to the right. And we're going to go opposite on this guy here. He's going to go right here. There we go. Little banjo buddy. And then I need a sentiment. So my sentiment is going to get stamped onto one of my Stylish Shapes little banners. And I thought the Round We Go set had a lot of really good sentiments. So I'm going to go with Time to Celebrate, but I could do Happiest Birthday or It's Your Day. So lots of fun potential in there. This is a great one to have too because it has a to and a from. And I know we are always looking for those. So if you grab your Memento Black Ink, stamp that in the center. And then we're going to pop this banner up on dimensionals and mount it to our backdrop. So it will look like you have 3 layers. You have the back turtles, you have the banner layer, 4 layers. You have the front turtle, and then you have the kind of musical stage for him to be playing on. So here we go. Time to celebrate. And then I said we might as well add some gems. So let's bring in those little hexagons and see where we would like to put some of those. I'm going to have to peek in here. There we go. Okay. I always like to do a large gem, and then a small gem, and another small gem. And there you go. There is your little hexagonal, which I'm going to call the marching band stage, turtle card. And I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider clicking that like button and subscribing to the channel. Then you'll get notified every time I post. And yeah, tune in every Tuesday at noon for another edition of Show Me How It's Done. Or check out Lauren's Scraplot for all of my monthly events that you can sign up for and receive private videos with tutorials like this one for specialty classes. Bye everyone.